Hello everybody, welcome to Austin Bucket. Subscribe to the channel if you haven't already and drop a like on this video. I am trying to hit 100k subscribers on this channel by the end of the playoffs, so your subscription would be much appreciated. I just reacted to the Tyrese Halliburton for Domantas Sabonis trade, which even as I'm saying it out loud, I cannot believe that that move actually happened. But I am going to talk about the CJ McCollum trade now that has kind of gone under the radar because of the fact that this trade was so stupid. But I'm going to talk about this one now after it's been like 2 hours after that video has been up. So let's talk about CJ to the New Orleans Pelicans. So this is a rumor that came out a couple of weeks ago that it seemed like that was going to be the suitor for CJ. And I feel like a handful of people are surprised by the lack of assets that they actually got back for CJ. But I'm actually not surprised at all. I believe I saw a report that a lot of GMs viewed CJ as not really an asset because he's like not even a top 30 player, but he makes $30 million for this year and next year, and I believe even a year after, if I'm not mistaken. Or it might be a team option, I can't remember. Either way, CJ McCollum is very overpaid for how good he is. He's probably like a $23 million per year player who makes like $32 million per year. And for that reason, his value as an aging guard who also tends to have injury stuff every once in a while, if I'm not mistaken. Although I think he's pretty good about that. Yeah, I don't know. I think he's been injured a good portion this year, if I'm not mistaken. I said that, if I'm not mistaken, twice now. But either way, a good player, no doubt, but not going to get a home run of a deal for him at this point at his age, with his level of play, with his contract. But the trade is Josh Hart, Thomas Satoransky, Nickeil Alexander-Walker, Didi Louzada. I should have looked that up first. I'm going to assume that's some young player I've never heard of, but isn't particularly good. It was like a second round pick or something, or I'm not sure who that is. Sorry. And then they sent a protected first round pick and 2 second round picks, and the Pelicans sent CJ McCollum, Larry Nance, and Tony Snell. Cool part about that is Larry Nance is also kind of an ideal center to play next to Zion. Larry Nance is at the very least a good mid-range shooter, and he's capable of hitting threes every once in a while, and he's good enough, big enough to play center pretty consistently. He's not the biggest guy in the world, so it's a little small for a center, but he's pretty serviceable, and I like that fit next to Zion. CJ McCollum, ironically, CJ McCollum is like kind of in a similar vein, in a similar tier to Brandon Ingram to me. Brandon is better, with CJ's just like they operate in similar areas of the floor and like dribble the ball about the same amount. So I'm just curious how exactly that fit is going to go. I'm not saying it's going to be bad or anything, but I just don't know that it's going to be seamless because there could be some stepping on the toes in terms of the fact that they just operate in similar areas. And this move, I like it for the Kings, or for the Pelicans, because you're getting better for sure, and the Pacers are already making a play-in tournament push. They started off 1-12, but since then they have been pretty good, and they are like knocking on the back door of the play-in spot, if I'm not mistaken. Although Sacramento did just get temporarily better, even if I think that move long-term was stupid. I think that's good. It's going to make them marginally better now. But, they are in the play-in spot. Okay. And, they're probably, they're like 3 games ahead of Sacramento. So I don't know about that. Portland is clearly bottoming out. But either way, they're in the play-in tournament. They just got a lot better, and Zion Williamson potentially returning this year. Still no reports on that. I feel like it's not going to happen, but it's completely up in the air. If he ends up returning, then he will be he'll have a lot of spacing around him. Another guard who can create, another scorer on the perimeter. Really, really good three-point shooter, and again, a big man that I think fits relatively well next to him. So I'm pretty happy with this trade on the Pelican side of things. And then on the Blazers side of things, Josh Hart is cool, but he's older than you might think he is. And Nickeil Alexander-Walker, to me, is not going to be good. The only thing Nickeil has ever looked like to me is a shot chucker and then some, and I just don't think he's going to be a very good NBA player. And then the 2022 protected first, I got to assume that that's lottery or at the very least like top 10 protected. I have not seen a report on what the protection on that pick actually is. But if it's not at least top 10 protected, I would be shocked. If it did end up being like the 13th pick and you're able to keep that, that would be pretty cool. Or if they make the play-in tournament and they manage to make the 8th seed or the 7th seed, and you have like the 15th, 16th, 17th, or 18th pick, that's pretty damn solid, I would say. The second round picks, I have no idea where those slot in, but it's not nothing. There are better returns, and honestly, Larry Nance I think was sold on a little bit low here. I feel like I would have rather done this trade without including him, and then I feel like you could have got a first round pick out of Larry Nance from a good team. I don't know that move necessarily on the top of my head, but I feel like there's a couple of teams that would have offered something near that. Like, I wouldn't be surprised if Chicago offered the Blazers pick back to them in exchange for Larry Nance, so they don't have to worry about that protection in the future, which is something that's been talked about before, but I don't think that would actually happen. But either way, I think you saw a little low on Larry Nance, but overall, I like this return for both sides. I don't think the Blazers got anything particularly stupendous, but they did do well enough here. They did well enough to actually get some sort of asset out of CJ McCollum. But what becomes more interesting here is Woj's follow-up tweet, because apparently he has some scoop on what the Blazers are trying to do. Now, I made a video on my main channel called "The Blazers Have a Tough Decision to Make," and I'm disappointed that video did as poorly as it did, because I was pretty happy with that one, and I'm really fascinated with where Portland is going in the future. And one of the things, I basically said there's two paths they could go. They could trade all their assets, or trade all their vets and stuff, and then cash out and rebuild, including Damian Lillard, or they could trade those young assets, Anthony Simons, the lottery pick they're going to be getting, and what else, and build around Dame for one final last hurrah. But apparently they're going to try and do the middle ground of that, according to Woj at the very least. Portland's plan is to fully reshape the roster around Damian Lillard now. Portland created a $21 million trade exception today, potentially $60 million in cap space this summer, multiple draft picks and assets via the Pels and Clippers trade, and plan is to pursue high-end talent now, not retreat. So the Blazers did not trade CJ and Norman Powell to rebuild. They traded them to create a bunch of cap space. I believe a couple of the contracts from the Pelicans move are expiring. Thomas Satoransky's is. I think Josh Hart's is like a weird contract that he technically is not guaranteed, so you can take him out of that. Nickeil Alexander-Walker, I think you could not pick up his team option, and then he's off of the books as well. So yeah, that actually is freeing up a lot of cap space. But my question just becomes, who exactly is going to Portland? So that's an interesting conversation. I'm not really going to speculate on that right now, but either way, Portland is doing stuff, and it's the first time we've seen them do stuff in a very long time. So at least that's something. But yeah, that was the CJ McCollum trade. I like it for both sides. I don't think it's a particularly large splash because CJ is not that amazing. The return the Blazers got was not that amazing. What the Pelicans gave up was not so much that it's like a bad move. And I like the fit there. I like, I like Larry Nance in this move more than I even like CJ. But the Pelicans got a lot better. The Blazers got a lot of got some draft capital and some cap space. So I think it's a good return both sides. unlike the trade that I talked about before this one. But yeah, that is it. Goodbye.